The morning alarm rang through the dark tunnels of New Busan Colony. Lee Hyun opened his eyes and looked at the metal ceiling above his small bed. Another day in the worst place humans had ever built. At least, that's what everyone said about their home. Hung got dressed in his brown work clothes and walked through the narrow hallways. The walls were made of cheap metal that had rust spots everywhere. Water dripped from broken pipes. The air smelled like oil and dirt. This was not the kind of place anyone wanted to live. "Good morning, Commander," said Kim Tae-ho as Haein entered the main control room. Tae-ho was a thin young man who worked with the colony's computers and radios. He always had a smile, even in this terrible place. "Morning, Tae-ho. Any news from Earth?" Hyun asked. He sat down at his old desk and turned on his computer. The screen was cracked, but it still worked. Same as always, no supplies coming for 3 months. No new people, no help. Tae-ho shook his head. "Earth Command thinks we are not important." Hin was not surprised. New Busan Colony was at the edge of human space. It was far from Earth, and far from any other human worlds. The planet they lived on was cold and had poison air. People could only live underground in these metal tunnels. The colony had 50,000 people. Most of them worked in the deep mines, digging for rare metals. The work was hard and dangerous. Many people got sick from the bad air in the mines. Some died in cave-ins. It was not a good life. Dr. Park Sojin walked into the control room. She was a smart woman who ran the colony's science department. Her white lab coat was dirty from working in the mines all night. "Hyun, we found something strange yesterday," she said. She looked tired, but excited. "Deep in Tunnel 7, the machines are picking up weird energy readings." "What kind of energy?" Haein asked. "Strange things in the mines usually meant trouble. I don't know yet. It's not like anything we've seen before." "The readings are very strong, but they come and go." Sojin sat down and showed him a tablet with numbers and graphs. "Look at this pattern." Hyun looked at the screen, but the numbers meant nothing to him. He was a colony manager, not a scientist. "Is it dangerous?" "I don't think so. But it's interesting. Very interesting." Sojin's eyes had a strange look, like she knew something, but couldn't say it. Before Hyun could ask more questions, Choi Mina ran into the room. She was the colony's chief engineer. Her job was to keep all the old machines working. It was not an easy job. "Commander, we have a big problem with the defense systems." Mina was breathing hard. She had been running. "What's wrong now?" Haein asked. "The defense systems broke down every week. New Busan only had a few old laser guns and weak shields. They were enough to stop small pirates, but not much else. The main shield generator is making strange noises again. 2 of the laser turrets won't turn on." Mina wiped sweat from her face. "If someone attacks us, we're in trouble." Hyun sighed. This was normal for New Busan Colony. Everything was old and broken. Earth Command gave them the worst equipment because they thought the colony was not important. Who would want to attack a poor mining colony anyway? "Fix what you can," Haein told Mina. "Use parts from the broken machines if you have to." "I always do," Mina said. She left to go back to work. Tae-ho was listening to his radio. "Commander, I'm getting reports from the other colonies. The Vorthok Empire is moving their ships around. Big fleets are gathering near the border." The Vorthok Empire was bad news. They were aliens who loved war. They had strong ships and powerful weapons. They had been fighting humans for 5 years. So far, Earth had been able to stop them, but just barely. "Are they coming this way?" Hyun asked. "Hard to tell, but their ships are definitely moving." Tae-ho adjusted his radio. "Wait, I'm getting something else. This is strange." "What?" "It's a message for you, Commander. Very high security." From Earth Command, Tae-ho looked confused. They never send high security messages here. Hyun felt a cold feeling in his stomach. High security messages usually meant very bad news. He took the message tablet from Taeho and read it. The message was short. Commander Lee Hyun, New Busan Colony. Security level Black Protocol 7 status. Stand by, await further orders. Earth Command Hyun. Read the message 3 times. Protocol 7. He had never heard of any Protocol 7. What did Earth Command want from a small mining colony? Is everything okay? Sojin asked. She could see that Haeun looked worried. I don't know. Haeun put the tablet in his pocket. Let's keep working on those energy readings. And don't tell anyone about them yet. Okay, Sojin said. But she looked at him with curious eyes. The rest of the day went like every other day in New Busan Colony. People went to work in the mines. Machines broke down and got fixed. Children went to school in the underground classrooms. Old people complained about the bad food and cold air. But Haeun could not stop thinking about the message. Protocol 7. What could it mean? That night, Hyun walked through the colony's tunnels. He saw families eating dinner in their small rooms. He saw workers coming back from the mines, tired and dirty. He saw children playing games with broken toys. These people trusted him to keep them safe. But how could he protect them with broken shields and old laser guns? If the Vorthok Empire decided to attack New Busan Colony, it would be over in minutes. As Haeun walked back to his room, he passed Tunnel 7. The tunnel where Sojin had found the strange energy readings. He stopped and listened. Was that a humming sound? Very quiet, but there. He shook his head. It was probably just the old machines. Everything in New Busan Colony made strange noises. But as he walked away, Hyun didn't see the small lights that flickered deep in Tunnel 7. Lights that pulsed in the same pattern as the energy readings. Lights that seemed to be waiting for something far away. In the darkness of space, alien ships were moving toward human territory. The Vorthok Empire was planning something big. And New Busan Colony, Earth's weakest and most forgotten outpost, was right in their path. Nobody knew that in a few days, this small mining colony would change the war forever. Nobody knew that the broken machines and worthless tunnels held secrets that could destroy an empire for now. New Busan Colony slept peacefully in its underground tunnels, looking weak and helpless to anyone watching from space, looking exactly the way it was supposed to look. 3 days later, far from New Busan Colony, Admiral Kethfer stood on the bridge of his massive warship. He was 8 feet tall, with dark purple skin and 4 arms. His yellow eyes looked at the star map in front of him. Red dots showed where. His fleet was gathering. 200 Vorthok warships floated in space around his flagship. Each ship was 3 times bigger than the largest human ship. They had thick armor and powerful weapons. This was the strongest fleet the Vorthok Empire had ever built. "Admiral," said General Vexmal, walking up to him. The general was shorter than Kethfer, but twice as wide. His body was covered in battle scars. "All ships are ready. We can attack the human colony whenever you give the order." Kethfer smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "Tell me about this New Busan Colony again. I want to hear how weak the humans are." Vexmal opened a data tablet. New Busan Colony has 50,000 humans. They live underground like worms. Their defenses are pathetic, a few old laser guns and weak shields. Their ships are small and slow. "What about their location?" Kethfer asked. "Perfect for us. The colony is far from Earth and far from other human worlds. No help can reach them in time. Even their own people think they are worthless." Vexmal laughed. "Earth Command sends them broken equipment and old supplies. They treat the colony like garbage." Kethfer walked to the big window and looked out at his fleet. "How long will it take to destroy them?" "Minutes, Admiral. Maybe 5 minutes. Their shields will fall quickly. Their weapons cannot hurt our ships. It will be easy. Vexmel put away his tablet. The humans will surrender as soon as they see our fleet. Good. This will show all humans how weak they really are. Kethfer S. eyes glowed with excitement. When we destroy their weakest colony so easily, other human worlds will be afraid. Some might even surrender without fighting. On another ship in the fleet, Captain Vexstar was talking to his crew. Listen well, soldiers. Today we attack the human colony called New Busan. This will be our easiest victory ever. The alien soldiers laughed and made jokes about humans. I had heard stories about how weak human technology was. Their ships were small. Their weapons were old. Their armor was thin. I heard humans cry when they fight, said one soldier. I heard they run away and hide, said another. Today we will show the galaxy that humans are cowards, Captain Vexstar said. After we destroy this colony, no one will fear humans anymore. Back on Admiral Kethfer's ship, the communications officer received a message. Admiral, High Command wants to broadcast our attack across the Empire. They want everyone to see how easily we crush the humans. Excellent, Kethfer said. Make sure the cameras get good pictures when their shields fail. I want to see the fear in human eyes. The Admiral walked to his command chair. It was made from the bones of enemies he had killed in battle. Begin the broadcast. Let the galaxy watch as the mighty Vorthok Empire destroys Earth's weakest colony. All across Vorthok space, aliens turned on their screens to watch the battle. They expected to see human ships explode quickly. They expected to see humans begging for mercy. The Empire had told them that humans were weak and stupid. Meanwhile, in the dark space between stars, Vorthok spy ships were watching other human colonies. They took pictures of human defenses and counted human ships. The information they sent back made the Vorthok leaders very confident. Look at this. General Dexmal showed Admiral Kethfer new spy reports. The human colony on Kepler-42 has only 12 defense platforms. The settlement on Ross-128 has 20 old fighters. Even their main military bases look weak. Perfect, Kethfer said. After we destroy New Busan, we will attack these other colonies too. One by one, we will crush every human world. The Admiral looked at tactical displays showing New Busan colony. The spy reports showed a small underground settlement with minimal defenses, a few laser turrets that looked ancient, shield generators that were clearly outdated, some small patrol ships that wouldn't last seconds against Vorthok weapons. Did humans ever think they could fight us? Kethfer wondered out loud. Their technology is hundreds of years behind ours. Their ships are toys. Their weapons are jokes. In the fleet's war room, Vorthok commanders planned their attack. They decided which ships would hit the colony first. They chose which weapons to use. They even planned where to land their troops after the defenses fell. We should leave some humans alive, suggested one commander. They can tell other colonies what happened here. Fear is a powerful weapon. Good idea, Admiral Kethfer agreed. Let them run back to Earth with stories of our power. Let them tell their leaders that resistance is useless. On his personal ship, Captain Vexstar was recording a message for his family back home. My beloved wife, by the time you see this message, I will have won another great victory. Today, we destroy a human colony so weak that they cannot even fix their own equipment. The battle will be over before it begins. Unknown. To the Vorthok fleet, their communications were being intercepted. Every word they said was being recorded. Every plan they made was being copied and sent across space at the speed of light, far away on New Busan colony. Kim Tae-ho sat in the communications room with his headphones on. He was listening to Vorthok radio chatter and translating there. Words, his face was calm, but his hands were shaking slightly. "Commander," he called to Li Hun, "you need to hear this." Heen came over and put on a pair of headphones. He listened to the alien voices laughing and bragging about how they would destroy the colony. He heard them planning where to land their troops. He heard them talking about leaving survivors to spread fear. "How many ships?" Eon asked quietly. 200 warships, Commander. The biggest fleet they have ever built. They think this will be easy. Taeho looked scared. "They're coming for us." Heen took off the headphones and looked around the small communications room. The walls were rusty metal. The equipment was old and looked broken. Everything about New Busan Colony looked weak and helpless. "When will they arrive?" he asked. "Tomorrow morning, Commander. Maybe sooner." Haeon nodded slowly. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the message tablet from Earth Command. The message still said, "Protocol 7, status, standby." He looked at the message for a long time. Then he walked to his private office and locked the door. He opened a secret drawer in his desk and pulled out a special communication device he had never used before. The device was small and black. It had no buttons except one red switch. Haeon had carried it for 3 years, waiting for the right moment. Earth Command had told him to use it only in the worst emergency, 200. Warthog warships definitely counted as the worst emergency. Heen flipped the red switch. The device beeped once and sent a coded signal into space. The signal traveled faster than light, reaching Earth Command in seconds. Somewhere on Earth, in a secret military facility, a computer received the signal and began to wake up systems that had been sleeping for years. Systems that had been built for this exact moment. Back in space, Admiral Kethfer gave his final orders. "All ships, prepare to jump to hyperspace. Tomorrow we will show the galaxy what happens to those who oppose the Vorthok Empire." The alien fleet disappeared into hyperspace, heading toward New Busan Colony. They were confident, eager, and completely unaware that they were flying into a trap that had been set long before they were born. On New Busan Colony, Lee Haeon looked up at the metal ceiling and whispered, "Protocol 7 is active." The next morning, Lee Hyun called an emergency meeting in the main conference room. Dr. Park Seo-jin, Kim Tae-ho, and Choi Min-ah sat around the old metal table. The room was small and cramped, like everything else in New Busan Colony. "The Vorthok fleet will be here in 6 hours, Hyun said quietly. 200 warships. They think this will be easy." Seo-jin looked calm, but her hands were folded tightly in her lap. "How much do they know about us?" "They know what we wanted them to know," Hoen replied. "They think we are just miners with broken equipment." Taeho was confused. "Commander, what? Do you mean we are miners? Our equipment is broken." Haeon stood up and walked to the wall. He pressed his hand against a metal panel that looked exactly like all the other panels. But this one was different. It scanned his handprint and beeped softly. "Computer, activate Protocol 7, Haeon said. "Protocol 7 activated," a female voice said from hidden speakers. "Welcome, Commander Lee Hyun. Terran Defense Grid is now online." The lights in the room changed from dim yellow to bright blue. The walls began to hum with energy. Taeho jumped back in his chair as his tablet computer suddenly showed displays he had never seen before. "What is happening?" Mina asked, looking around in shock. Jin smiled for the first time in days. "It's time to tell them the truth, Hyun." Hyun sat back down and looked at his confused team members. "New Busan Colony is not a mining operation. We are not here to dig for metals. This entire facility is Earth's most advanced military research station." "That's impossible," Taeho said. "I've been here for 2 years. I know every computer system. I know every tunnel." "No, you don't." Sojin said gently. You know what we wanted you to know? The mining tunnels you've seen are real, but they are only the top layer. Below us are 20 more levels of laboratories, weapon systems, and defense networks. The conference room wall suddenly became transparent, showing a massive underground complex that stretched deep into the planet. Taeho and Mina stared in amazement at laboratories full of advanced technology, weapon systems that looked nothing like human designs, and energy generators the size of buildings. This is impossible, Mina whispered. How did you hide all this? We didn't hide it, Hyan explained. We built it inside the planet itself. Every mining tunnel leads to real research facilities. Every broken machine on the surface is actually a disguised weapons platform. Sojin activated her tablet, which now showed completely different displays. For 5 years, we have been developing weapons and defense systems that no alien race has ever seen. The energy readings I found in Tunnel 7. Those were from our main power core coming online. But why the secret? Taeho asked. Why didn't Earth Command tell everyone? Because the best defense is surprise, Hyan said. Every alien spy who looks at New Busan sees exactly what we want them to see. A weak, poor mining colony with old equipment and desperate people. Mina was looking at her own tablet, which now showed the real defense systems. These weapons, they're incredible. But I've been fixing the surface defenses for months. Those laser turrets really are broken. Of course they are, Sojin laughed. We wanted them broken. We wanted the Vorthok spies to see weak defenses. We wanted them to think we were helpless. The main screen in the room showed the approaching Vorthok fleet. 200 massive warships were dropping out of hyperspace near the planet. How many people in the colony know the truth? Taeho asked. Everyone, Hyan said. Every single person in New Busan colony is here by choice. The miners are actually engineers and weapons specialists. The teachers are tactical experts. The doctors are military researchers. Even the children are the sons and daughters of Earth's best military minds. Mina was reading through weapon specifications on her tablet. These energy cannons, are more powerful than anything in the Earth fleet. How is that possible? We've had 5 years to develop them without anyone watching, Sojin explained. No politicians demanding reports. No generals changing our orders. Just the best human scientists working together to build the ultimate defense system. On the main screen, they could see Vorthok ships moving into attack formation. The aliens were taking their time, confident that the small human colony could not fight back. Computer show surface view, Hyan commanded. The screen changed to show New Busan colony from above. It looked exactly the same as always. A few small buildings, some rusty metal structures, and the entrances to the mining tunnels. Nothing looked dangerous or advanced. The Vorthok scouts have been watching us for months, Sojin said. They've seen our people going to work in the mines every day. They've seen our broken surface defenses. They've seen children playing in the tunnels. To them, we look like a normal, weak human settlement. But we're not, Mina said, finally. Understanding, we're a weapon disguised as a colony. Exactly, Haya nodded. The Terran defense grid was designed to look like a mining operation while we built the most advanced planetary defense system in human history. Taeho was looking at communications data. Commander, the Vorthok are sending surrender demands. They want us to give up without fighting. What should I tell them? Taeho asked. Hyan smiled. Tell them we are just poor miners who cannot fight their mighty fleet. Tell them we are afraid. Ask them for mercy. But that's not true anymore, Mina said. They don't know that, Sojin replied. And they won't know until it's too late. The computer voice spoke again. Terran defense grid. Charging to full power. All systems operational. Planetary shield generators ready. Weapon platforms armed. Through the transparent wall, they could see massive energy cannons rising from hidden positions deep underground. The weapons were beautiful and terrifying, sleek designs that hummed with contained power. Nothing like the crude, broken laser turrets on the surface. "How many weapon platforms do we have?" Mina asked in amazement. 50 primary energy cannons, Sojin said. 200 secondary pulse weapons. 30 shield generators. And one experimental weapon that we've never tested in real combat. "What kind of experimental weapon?" Taeho asked. Sojin and Hyun looked at each other. "Something that will end this war very quickly," Hyun said. The main screen showed Admiral Kethfer's flagship approaching the planet. The massive Vorthok ship was 10 times bigger than anything humans had ever built. Its weapons could destroy cities. Its shields could stop nuclear bombs. "Are you sure our weapons can hurt ships that big?" Taeho asked nervously. "Our weapons were specifically designed to destroy Vorthok ships," Sojin said confidently. "We've studied their technology for years. We know exactly where to hit them." Mina was reading tactical data. "The Vorthok fleet is spreading out around the planet." "They're surrounding us?" "Perfect," Hyun said. "That means they can't escape when we spring the trap." On the communications channel, they could hear Vorthok voices laughing and joking about the easy victory they were about to win. The aliens were so confident that they weren't even trying to hide their battle plans. "Computer, begin final preparations." Hayan ordered. "Charge all weapons to maximum power. Prepare to drop the disguise. Acknowledge Terran defense grid will be fully operational in 3 minutes." Sojin stood up and walked to the transparent wall. Below them, she could see technicians in white coats working at advanced control stations. These were not miners. They were some of Earth's most brilliant military scientists, and they had been waiting 5 years for this moment. "The Vorthok Empire thinks they're about to destroy a helpless human colony," she said quietly. "Instead, they're about to learn why you should never underestimate human engineering." Outside, the first Vorthok ships were entering the planet's atmosphere. They moved slowly and confidently, expecting no resistance from the weak human settlement below. They had no idea that 50 of the most powerful weapons ever built by humans were pointed directly at them, waiting for the order to fire. The trap was set. The hunters had become the hunted, and in exactly 7 minutes, the Vorthok Empire would cease to exist. Admiral Kethfer stood on his flagship's bridge, watching the small human colony below. New Busan looked exactly as the spy reports had described: weak, poor, and defenseless. A few rusty buildings sat on the planet's surface like metal scars. "Open communications to the colony," he ordered. "I want to hear them beg for mercy." On the main screen, Lee Hyan's face appeared. He looked scared and worried, exactly what Kethfer expected from a human colony leader. "Great Admiral," Hyan said in a shaky voice. "Please, we are just miners. We have no weapons. We cannot fight your mighty fleet." Kethfer laughed, showing his sharp teeth. "You humans are even weaker than I thought. Surrender now, and some of you might live." We surrender," Hyun said, his voice breaking. "Please don't hurt our families." Behind the Admiral, Vorthok officers were laughing. This was going to be easier than they had imagined. The human was already crying before the battle even started. "Prepare to destroy their pathetic defenses," Kethfer ordered. "Make it slow. I want them to suffer." Minute 2, the Vorthok fleet moved into perfect attack formation around the planet. 200 massive warships surrounded New Busan colony like hungry wolves around a sheep. Each ship charged its weapons and targeted the small human settlement. Below, in the colony's command center, Hyan turned off the communications screen and smiled. "Computer, are all Vorthok ships in position?" "Confirmed. All enemy vessels are within the attack zone. Nitrogen monoxide escape routes available." Sojin was watching. Her tactical displays, their ships are exactly where we want them. They've surrounded the planet, which means they've surrounded themselves. Perfect, Hyun said. Mina, are the weapons ready? Mina looked at her control panel, which showed 50 massive energy cannons hidden below ground. All systems charged. And ready, Commander? Just give the word. Taeho was monitoring Vorthok communications. They're still laughing about how easy this is. Admiral Kethfer is telling his fleet to take their time and enjoy the victory. On his flagship, Admiral Kethfer was recording a message for Vorthok High Command. As you can see, the human colony has already surrendered. Their defenses are non-existent. Their people are cowards. This proves that humans are not worthy opponents for the mighty Vorthok Empire. He gestured toward the planet below. In a few moments, I will demonstrate our power by destroying their settlement. Let this be a lesson to all who dare oppose us. Minute 3. Begin the attack. Admiral Kethfer commanded. The Vorthok fleet opened fire on New Busan colony. Hundreds of energy beams and plasma bolts streaked down toward the planet's surface. The attack was so intense that it lit up the sky like a deadly fireworks show. The beams hit the colony's weak surface shields. Just as expected, the shields failed immediately. The rusty buildings and old laser turrets exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Direct hits, reported a Vorthok officer. All surface defenses destroyed. Admiral Kethfer smiled with satisfaction. Excellent. Now finish off the rest of the settlement. But in the underground command center, Lee Hyun was completely calm. Computer, drop the disguise. Activate the Terran defense grid. Disguise protocols deactivated. Terran defense grid online. Across the planet's surface, the ground began to split open. Massive metal doors that had been invisible seconds before slid apart. From the hidden tunnels below, incredible weapons began to rise. 50 enormous energy cannons emerged from the planet like silver flowers blooming in fast motion. Each cannon was the size of a building and hummed with contained power. They moved with smooth precision, targeting the Vorthok ships above. Minute for what? ... What is that? Admiral Kethfer stammered, staring at the weapon platforms rising from the planet. His tactical officer was frantically checking his instruments. Admiral, I'm reading massive energy signatures from the surface. These weapons, they're more powerful than our main guns. Impossible, Kethfer shouted. The humans don't have technology like that. On New Busan colony, Sojin was coordinating the defense from her command station. All weapons locked onto targets. Firing solution confirmed. Ready to engage. Fire, Hyon said quietly. The 50 energy cannons fired at once. Beams of pure white energy lanced up from the planet's surface, moving at the speed of light. The beams were so bright that they turned the dark space around the planet into brilliant daylight. The first wave of Vorthok ships had no time to react. 20 massive warships were hit by the energy beams and simply vanished. They didn't explode. They were completely destroyed, turned into clouds of glowing dust in seconds. Impossible. Admiral Kethfer screamed. Our ships have the strongest armor in the galaxy. Not anymore, Na said with satisfaction as she watched her weapons tear through Vorthok hulls like paper. Minute 5, the surviving Vorthok ships tried to return fire. But their weapons couldn't penetrate the energy shields that had suddenly appeared around New Busan colony. The human shields were unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. They absorbed the Vorthok energy beams and made the human weapons even stronger. Admiral, our weapons are useless, reported a panicked Vorthok officer. Their shields are absorbing our energy. Kethfer was gripping his command chair so hard that his claws left marks in the metal. All ships, retreat. Get us out of here. But when the Vorthok ships tried to flee, they discovered they couldn't move. Tejo had activated a jamming field that disabled their engines and navigation systems. "Sir, we can't jump to hyperspace." A frightened officer reported. "Our engines won't respond." The human energy cannons fired again. Another 30 Vorthok ships disappeared in flashes of white light. The mighty alien fleet was being destroyed piece by piece by weapons they didn't understand. Minute 6. "How are they doing this?" General Vexmol asked desperately. "These are primitive humans. They shouldn't have weapons like this," Sojin heard. The alien communication and smiled. "Computer, show them what human engineering can really do. Activate the experimental weapon." Deep below the planet's surface, something much larger than the energy cannons began to rise. It was a single, massive weapon platform that looked like a metal mountain. Energy crackled around it like captured lightning. Admiral Kethfer watched in horror as the enormous weapon emerged from the planet. "What is that thing?" That Hoon said over the open communication channel, "is what happens when you underestimate humans." The experimental weapon charged up with a sound like thunder. Energy flowed into it from deep within the planet's core. The weapon was so powerful that it made the space around it bend and twist. Min-U was watching the weapon's power readings climb higher and higher. "Commander, the quantum destabilizer is at full power. One shot from this will destroy everything. Within 1,000 kilometers, target the flagship." Hyun ordered. Minute 7, the quantum destabilizer fired. A beam of impossible energy, darker than space itself, reached out from New Busan Colony and touched Admiral Kethfer's flagship. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the massive Vorthok ship began to collapse in on itself. The dark energy was unmaking the very atoms that held the ship together. "No." Admiral Kethfer screamed as his ship folded like paper. "This cannot be happening. We are the mighty Vorthok Empire." His ship imploded with a flash of light that could be seen from the other side of the star system. The explosion was so powerful that it destroyed 50 more Vorthok ships that were nearby. The remaining alien ships, less than 30 out of the original 200, tried desperately to escape. But the human energy cannons picked them off one by one. Each shot was perfect. Each hit was fatal. In exactly 7 minutes, the most powerful fleet in Vorthok history had been completely destroyed. Not a single alien ship escaped to tell the story. In the command center, silence fell over the human defenders. On their screens, they could see empty space where 200 enemy warships had been floating just minutes before. "It's over," Sojin said quietly. Hyun nodded and opened a communication channel to Earth Command. "This is New Busan Colony. The Vorthok fleet has been destroyed. Not one enemy ship survived." Across the galaxy, alien races who had been watching the battle through Vorthok broadcasts sat in stunned silence. They had just seen the weakest human colony destroy the most powerful fleet in known space. The message was clear: never underestimate humans again. The war was over. The Vorthok Empire was finished, and New Busan Colony, Earth's greatest secret, had finally revealed its true purpose. 6 hours after the battle, the news of the Vorthok fleet's destruction spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. On every alien world, people watched recordings of the battle with shock and disbelief. The mighty Vorthok Empire, feared by everyone, had been completely destroyed by a small human colony in the Zephyr system. Chancellor Morden watched the battle footage for the 5th time. He was the leader of a race that had paid tribute to the Vorthok Empire for 50 years. His 4 eyes were wide with amazement. "Play it again," he told his aide. "I still cannot believe what I'm seeing." On the screen, they watched 200 Vorthok warships approach what looked like a defenseless human mining colony. Then they watched those same ships disappear in flashes of white light as incredible weapons rose from the planet's surface. "Sir," his aide said nervously, If the humans can destroy the Vorthok so easily, what does that mean for us? Chancellor Morden was quiet for a long time. It means we have been very wrong about humans, he said, finally. And it means we need to be very, very careful. 2 days after the battle on Earth, President Sarah Kim stood before the United Earth Council. The massive chamber was filled with representatives from every human world. Everyone was talking excitedly about New Busan Colony and its incredible victory. Order! Order! President Kim called out. I know you all have questions about what happened at New Busan Colony. I am here to give you answers. The chamber fell silent. Everyone wanted to know how a small mining colony had hidden such powerful weapons. 20 years ago, President Kim began. Our scientists realized that humanity would eventually face a threat we could not defeat with conventional weapons. So we began the Terran Defense Project. She activated a hologram that showed the galaxy and human space. We chose remote colonies on the edge of our territory, places that looked weak and unimportant. We built secret research facilities and disguised them as normal settlements. A representative from Mars Colony raised his hand. How many colonies? Are really defense stations? President Kim smiled. That information is classified. But I will say this, New Busan Colony is not the only one. Gasps filled the chamber. If there were more hidden defense stations, humanity was much stronger than anyone had realized. 1 week after the battle on New Busan Colony, life was very different now. The secret was out, and there was no need to pretend anymore. The underground. Levels were fully open, and the real research facilities were buzzing with activity. Lee Hyun walked through the main laboratory with Dr. Park Sojin. Scientists and engineers were working on new projects, no longer hiding their true purpose. How does it feel to not have to pretend anymore? Sojin asked. Haeon smiled. Strange, but good. For 5 years, we've had to act like struggling miners. Now we can be who we really are. They stopped at a viewing window that looked out over the weapon platforms. The massive energy cannons stood proudly on the planet's surface, no longer hidden underground. The quantum destabilizer worked perfectly, Sojin said. Better than our models predicted. We might be able to build smaller versions for our starships. Good. Hain replied. Something tells me we'll need them. Kim Tae-ho joined them at the window. He was no longer pretending to be a simple communications officer. His real job was intelligence analysis, and he had been monitoring alien communications. Across the galaxy, Commander, you should hear what the other alien races are saying about us, Tae-ho said, showing them his tablet. The tablet displayed translations of messages from dozens of different alien civilizations. All of them were talking about the destruction of the Vorthok fleet. The Krell Confederacy is offering to sign a peace treaty with Earth, Tae-ho reported. The Nexari Empire wants to establish trade relations. Even the Void Hunters are avoiding human space. Choi Mina walked up to the group. She had been promoted to Chief of Weapons Development and was working on new defense systems for other human colonies. The engineering teams from Earth's command arrived this morning, she said. They want to copy our designs and build defense grids on 12 other worlds. Which worlds? Haeon asked. The ones that really are mining colonies? Mina laughed. Command wants to turn them into hidden fortresses just like we did here. 3 weeks after the battle in the capital city of the former Vorthok Empire, chaos ruled the streets. Without their powerful military, the empire was falling apart. Alien races that had been conquered by the Vorthok were declaring independence. Some were even asking to join the Human Alliance. Ambassador Chen Wei arrived on the former Vorthok homeworld aboard a small human diplomatic ship. She was there to negotiate the surrender of what remained of the empire. The Vorthok leaders who met her were very different from the arrogant Admiral Kethfer. They were scared, broken aliens who could barely look her in the eye. On behalf of Earth and the Human Federation, Ambassador Chen said calmly, "I am here to accept your unconditional surrender." The Vorthok High Counselor, an elderly alien with gray skin and trembling hands, signed the surrender documents without argument. "Please," he whispered, "do not destroy our homeworld like you destroyed our fleet." Ambassador Chen studied the alien leader with cold eyes. "Earth does not make war on civilians. But your military will be disbanded, and your government will be supervised by human administrators until you learn to live in peace." 6 months after the battle, New Busan colony had become the most famous human settlement in the galaxy. From alien civilizations arrived every week, asking for tours and hoping to establish diplomatic relations with humanity. Li Hien, now promoted to admiral, stood in the new diplomatic center that had been built on the planet's surface. The building was designed to impress alien visitors while showing them humanity's advanced technology. Today's visitors were from the Altarian Republic, a race of tall, blue-skinned aliens who had once been allies of the Vorthok Empire. Now they wanted to switch sides. "Admiral Lee," said Ambassador Veltar, the Altarian leader, "my people offer our complete cooperation with the Human Federation. We have scientific knowledge that might interest you." "What kind of knowledge?" Heian asked. "Faster than light, communication technology, advanced materials science, quantum computing systems." The alien's voice was eager. "All of this we offer freely, as a sign of our friendship." Heian nodded politely. "We will consider your offer. But understand, humanity does not need alien technology to defend itself. We have proven that our own science is quite advanced." The Altarian ambassador looked nervous. "Of course, Admiral, we meant no disrespect. We simply wish to be helpful." After the aliens left, Dr. Park Sojin joined Heian on the observation deck. They looked out over the colony, which now openly displayed its true nature. Advanced laboratories, weapon platforms, and research facilities covered the landscape. "Do you think we did the right thing?" Sojin asked, "revealing our capabilities to the galaxy?" Heian considered the question. "We had no choice. We're going to keep pushing until they found out anyway. This way, we controlled the revelation. And now every alien race knows not to underestimate humans," Sojin said. "Exactly. Fear is sometimes the best deterrent to war." They watched as a group of children played in the colony's parks. These were the same children who had once pretended to be miners' kids. Now they could grow up knowing they lived on one of humanity's most important worlds. "What's next for New Busan colony?" Sojin asked. "We keep doing what we've always done," Hyun replied. "We research, we develop new technologies. We prepare for whatever threats might come next." "Do you think there will be more threats?" Hyun smiled. "Sojin, we live in a galaxy with thousands of alien civilizations. Some of them are peaceful, but others are not. There will always be threats. Then it's good that humanity is ready for them." "Yes," Hyun agreed. "And now the galaxy knows we're ready too." 1 year after the battle, the anniversary of the Vorthok fleet's destruction was declared Defense Day throughout human space. On New Busan colony, Admiral Lee Hyun gave a speech to representatives from 50 alien worlds who had come to pay their respects. 1 year ago, he said, standing before the memorial to the battle, the Vorthok Empire believed that humans were weak. They thought our colonies were easy targets. They learned in 7 minutes how wrong they were. The alien delegates listened in respectful silence. Many of them had once considered humans to be a minor species. Now they treated humanity as one of the galaxy's major powers. "The lesson of New Busan colony is simple," Hyun continued. "Never judge strength by appearance. Never assume that quiet means weak. And never, ever underestimate the power of human determination." As the memorial ceremony ended, Hyun looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, other threats might be gathering. Other empires might be planning attacks on human worlds, but they would remember the fate of the Vorthok Empire. They would remember that Earth's weakest colony had destroyed the galaxy's strongest fleet in 7 minutes, and hopefully, they would choose peace instead of war. The age of humanity had begun.